All right, let's get into it. We are here for another episode of the What's in Your Cup podcast.
Another one.
And yeah, what's on your mind?
Well, we got to introduce ourselves, our first-time listeners.
Hi.
Welcome back to those who are recurring listeners. But
Yes, my name is John.
the host.
The host of the show.
And then I'm going to promote myself to co-host.
You're going to you've been that the whole time.
But title promotion means title pay.
Title. Yeah, stop it. We've already had this conversation.
No, but
I'm broke. You're broke. We're in my basement.
that's a good word because I remember when Dave Chappelle was doing a stand-up and he was complaining about like how he grew up poor and he was like, "Dad, I hate being poor." And he was like, "You're not poor. You're broke." That's a different mindset. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm your broke co-host, Mark. So what's on my mind? I don't know if you've heard about it, but the World Happiness Report came out, and there's actually quite a lot of controversy around it. How the report was designed, as well as where the United States and a lot of other Western countries are landing. For the first time, the U.S. is not in the top 20.
I didn't even know that there was actually a happiness index.
This is like really big in the UN, the World Happiness Report.
That's
like
really
enormous.
Funny. It's like, that is a horrible index.
Yeah, the World Happiness Report is basically just a measure of, they poll about 12,000 people across different countries, and they ask about your economic situation, your quality of life, health, health, work-life balance, access to food. Like, it's like a bunch of different things. And then they quantify this on an index. And then this between 0 and 10, with 10 being the best, 0 being the worst. And then they take the average score and then they place you. So the U.S. last year was the 15th happiest country. In 1 year, we went from 15 to 23.
That is horrible. Like, I'm sorry.
And the reasoning for this is where the controversy has started to come in, is where the UN separated world happiness indexes by age groups. So they took like the boomers, Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z, and basically took an average among all the happiness scores among those subgroups. So like, for example, if we were going to take the world happiness index for the boomers, the U.S. would be like in the top 10 happiest countries on the planet. But if you take our generation, Gen Z, we go down to 62nd.
Really? Well, actually, no, that's not surprising. This generation hates everything.
Yeah, and it's just very interesting because, we're both Gen Z. So I think this is a pretty interesting conversation to have about the disconnect between, like, because your parents are boomers, right? Or are they classified? Are they technically classified as boomers?
I want to say Gen X.
Okay, so they're Gen X because my dad's a boomer. So it would be definitely interesting to have a conversation of like where they see are they happy in the U.S. versus people our age are happy in the U.S. and like the disconnect, and people are trying to basically say that the World Happiness Report is basically demonstrating that, younger people are getting a lot more mentally ill because they're just terminally online, and that, this terminal onlineness is getting to people's perceptions on their lives, which is going to have like ripple effects in the real world. So, yeah, like for your record, do you want to take a guess on what are the top 5 happiest countries on the planet?
Yeah, sure. Top 5?
Yeah, top 5.
Top 5 happiest. I'm going to put China on that list.
Okay.
Because...
they artificially make happiness.
Yes. Let's see. Maybe Norway or Sweden.
Okay.
Norway or Sweden. I'm going to put... I'm not going to put anything in Africa. I'm just going to toss out that whole continent.
Damn.
I don't think any of them are happy.
Well, you're not wrong. I'm going to let you right now. You're not wrong.
I don't think any of them are happy. Maybe Russia for the same reasons as China, that they're just telling us that they're happy.
North Korea should be number one.
North Korea would be number one. They're just telling us that they're happy. But I'm gonna try to throw in one more.
Do you want a hint?
It's got to be Europe. It's got to be Europe.
Okay.
So it's Luxembourg. Like
All
who complains about something in Luxembourg?
Okay, so you actually got one right in the top 5, Sweden. So the
All right.
top 5 for 2024 is Finland with number 1,
Okay.
Denmark, Iceland, Sweden, and this is a curveball, Israel.
Was this index was the information from this taken recently?
Yeah, like this is over the course of from 2023 to now. So this is including like the whole war in Gaza and everything. So it's
That one has to be artificial. That has to be. I know for a fact that they are not happy right
hey,
now.
I guess they're happy. They're achieving what they want. I don't know, but Norway is 7 and Luxembourg is 8. So you were actually pretty close with those two. To round out the top 10, we have the Netherlands, Switzerland, and Australia. So all of these are European countries with the exception of Israel and Australia.
Okay.
So
and then where does China, Russia, North Korea, where do those land?
Oh, wow. I'll have to find out, but let me see. Oh, they don't even crack the top 30.
Or better yet, who's the least happiest country on earth?
I'm going to get that for you right now.
First one that comes to mind is Venezuela or Nigeria.
Mm-hmm.
Some war-torn country. Palestine.
Oh, no. Wait, download report. All right. World Happiness. They have their own report. Okay. So the least happiest country on the planet is Afghanistan.
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 That's understandable.
Interesting that only 143 countries are in this report when there's 196 countries on the planet. So that's
some of them just
interesting.
didn't want to give that information.
It doesn't look like North Korea is on this list. Interesting. China is located at number, trying to find it right now. Venezuela, for your reference, is 79.
Okay.
China is 60. That's pretty interesting.
What about Russia?
Russia is... I gotta find it. Russia is 72. But what's really interesting is Japan is 51. And I know Japan, we've spoken about this, they just have such a depression problem, just being overworked. So I wonder if a lot of these Asian countries are experiencing the same thing. I think the happiest country in Asia was Vietnam, or is Vietnam. So that's interesting. But yeah, the United States is 23. We are behind the United Arab Emirates, Slovenia, the UK, Lithuania. So Lithuania is 19. And then we're ahead of Germany, Mexico, Uruguay, France, Saudi Arabia, Kosovo, Singapore. So Singapore is 30.
That's
All
interesting.
Right. As a Gen Zer, would you say take your economic well-being, your, let's say, just broader quality of life, opportunities, and food, would you consider yourself happy, air quotes, on a scale of 0 to 10, where 10 being, let's say, the happiest you've ever been in your life, and 0 is I want to die? Where would you think you would place yourself at?
I mean, the one thing, I'm pretty happy with everything. The one thing that I'm absolutely upset about is just how expensive everything is. That's all it is. Just living check to check, trying to make sure that all my bills are paid, or sometimes people push the monthly payments, that stuff like that, when every bill is on the 26th of every month. That's the annoying shit. But quality of life is so much better in this century compared to all the other generations. So I don't know why everybody's complaining about. If you're complaining about money, that's fine. I mean, Most of us are broke. But complaining about like quality of life, at least as an American, Gen Zer, there's no complaint here. You have everything you need here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd rate pretty high. I want to say like maybe 7.5, 8.
Oh wow, that is actually pretty high.
Yeah.
So
not counting like the extra work and having to just having to pay for so much for like so little.
yeah. This is what's really interesting about like happiness, because happiness is so culturally linked. I work in an office where it's like a lot of Asian Americans are there, and what's really interesting is there's a guy who I work with. He's from the Philippines, and I went on a business trip with him, and he would tell me how like people in the Philippines are materially less, are like poorer than their American counterparts. No question about it. These like people in the Philippines though, like you land in the airport, they're like happy. Like there's just like the vibe is a lot happier because it's like, oh, you know, I go see my mom, or I go see my dad, or I go, you know, get fruit at the market. You know, it's like they have less, but they are happier because of just the broader communitarian culture that they have. Whether you agree with that or not is, you know, a separate point. So there's this idea of America being what is referred to as the first post-scarcity society. So if you mind me asking, do you know what post-scarcity means?
I'm assuming just having like having more than enough resources.
Yeah, like, yeah, you hit it right on the dime, where it's like basically if you have the money, you can have anything you want in America. Like you can eat to your heart's desire. You can have any clothes you want. You can have any car you want. You can have anything you want.
Especially in major cities like New York or like
LA, Miami,
Miami,
you know?
yeah.
Like you can just have anything you want. And however, those areas that have these immense wealth suffer some of like the highest unhappiness indexes. So it's just, that's where another criticism of the World's Happiness Report is that a lot of the happiness is very just subjective, you know? So it's interesting that you brought up like, you know, like quality of life is so much better, you know, but would you be speaking like, okay, you are, if you mind me asking, like you're from a multi-generational family, like a lot of, you have 3 different generations that of your family that like interact with each other on a day-to-day basis. Like, would you say that, for example, your grandfather would be happier than, let's say, your father, even though your father's materially better off than your grandfather?
I want to say yes, because they've learned, because like I come from an immigrant family, so like when they came over, they learned to just like accept what they could get and then have nothing. And then like the first generation that comes born in America that knows the rules better than the immigrants do. So like they know how like the politics works. They know how the culture works better. They don't have to acclimate they don't have to take too much time to acclimate as an immigrant would, right? So they're less happy because, not to say like
they see the puppet master, like they see the person
like,
behind the curtain.
Not to say like the first generation was like the immigrants that came over were ignorant. It's that their first thought was survival, not integration. The second generation is about that. Is about like, you know, integrating with American society and then trying to make it further up the economic ladder. Yeah. Because now they know how things really work here in comparison. So while they're trying to do that, like there's more on their mind and they know like the inner workings, so they're less happy about it. When the other guys are just like, I made it here, I have some money, I'm retired, and I can just die happy. So like they're definitely happier because they're not looking for that. They're too old now, so they're not looking for that extra step in comparison. That's
a really interesting take, because I would definitely say the same thing. Like where my dad's family lives, they live in Kentucky. So I'll go to Kentucky a bunch of times and I'll see that in New York, I wouldn't say we're materially better off, but we have access to a lot of, I guess, luxuries that people in Louisville don't. So like people like obviously you have museums and culture and all that in Louisville, but it's not nearly at the same extent as New York, where if I want to go and get Eastern, Polish food at 2 a.m., there's going to be some place in New York City that offers some cuisine from Eastern Poland at 2 a.m. Like you cannot get that in Louisville. So when I go to Louisville, they're much more like materially focused. They're like, oh, we have this grand house and we have this stuff, blah, blah, blah. While here is we're much more concerned about, like, obviously we're concerned about our homes, but much more concerned about like stuff to do outside of the home, you know? And when I sit at the dinner table and I see like talking about quality of life, it's, we're using two different metrics. And like you said, where it's, the first generation immigrants, they come and they're like, we made it, but we got to survive. And, whatever we get by, there's kind of like I don't want to say a pleasure in the struggle because I don't think anybody ever wants to struggle, but it's like a kind of like, I made it. Not everybody could make it. I did though. That type of attitude.
The idea of like an honest work, honest paycheck for honest work.
Yeah.
That like I'm doing what I can, and I know that like the simple things I enjoy. That's what they're thinking.
I know when I was on X today,
formerly known as Twitter.
You know what's crazy? Side note: my phone updated and I got rid of the blue bird. Like it got rid of the blue bird.
It forced it.
It forced it. Like it no longer.
No, that happens on my phone too. If you wait too long, it'll just force the updates.
That's crazy. I'm like, it's literally the end of an era. I was the last person in our friend group to have the blue bird.
How's it feel?
Yeah, I don't like it.
You don't like it?
I want my bird back. But anyways, going back to what we were talking about, it's kind of like the boomers, right, had the highest happiness index among all the generations, right? They didn't even include the silent generation, which because they're basically gone. They like
also they're silent. They don't complain about anything.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But the boomers have like the highest ratings, and everybody on X was dunking on them because they're like, oh, it's because you all bought a house when it was $6. You all had access to like your money went further. You all had better access to jobs, blah, 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 blah. It's just like it was just like open season on boomers. And then you have like the one boomer on X that's just like, LOL, haha, like, enjoy bankruptcy. Like,
you ain't getting this social security. Like what?
Yeah, no, that's literally it. So do you think, as a young, we're young. So do you think that when you get older, you'll become more happier? Because you'll be at like certain stages?
I know that when I get older, I'll be much more like structurally sound or like economically sound. Because like I have a job right now, but like it's not my final goal. Like I know I can do more than this or get at least a little bit further than this. So I want to say like when I know for a fact that I'm structurally sound and that piece of anxiety kind of goes away for my future, then I'll be happier because like I know I don't have to struggle with it. But like there's always going to be that little piece in the back of my mind thinking, because I know much more than my ancestors did. So like I know about like investments, I know about IRA funds, or I know about like ETFs, and I know about like crypto and all these different things, all these opportunities, right? And having access to Google to solve all my problems rather than having to go to a library and read on something just to figure out how it works. That's why I think there's always going to be a piece in the back of my mind like, what if I did it like this? Or what if I decided to finally uptake this to make it to like improve my life even to a very small degree.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think also that when I was not reading the report, because the report is like 300 pages, but one of the major things that stood out to me was social media and how social media is kind of distorting success, and that's having a ripple effect on people's own view of their like happiness. So like, for example, I know it's really more prevalent with young men than it is young women, but like you probably seen them, like people on your YouTube feed or TikTok feeds that are like, I'm 25 years old. I got this, Aston Martin and this, smoking a smoke show of a girlfriend in the
That was
seat.
probably bought for
That
them.
was probably rented,
Either you rented or you bought. It's just,
it's just flex culture.
90% of everything posted online is fake.
Yeah, it's just all flex culture.
It's like everything's got a filter on it. Everything's about like flexing what you have. And it's that's so annoying to me.
Yeah, but younger people though seeing that, because you and I can see through the looking glass, but unfortunately the vast majority of people can't.
Yeah,
And
it's very surface level for everybody else.
So they see it and they're like, wow, my life is not like that. Like I'm 25 and I'm a failure. That's kind of I think such an insane metric to hold yourself to, that if you haven't achieved everything by your early 20s and you're just done, it's, but I think that like how we are defining success versus how boomers and older generations are defining success, I think is also affecting happiness. Like we define success as having to have all of these major milestones like right away. Like you need to have your Roth IRA locked away. You need to have your 401k maxed out, locked away. You need to be able to have a car. You need to be able to have a house all by 30 because
you're listening to all those like investment like life hacks
that'll
make your shit way easier in the future.
And and then also you need to have 3 kids by the time you're 35, and if you don't have any of these things, you're a failure. Versus boomers are like, I have a job. I can buy a house and I have a job. I'm chilling. Like I feel that we have the different generations have a lot of different benchmarks to success. And that is also a big reason why there's this huge disparity, because we are like, oh, granted, everybody wants a home, but it's like, we need to have a home. We need to, be able to get a 6-figure salary, all this stuff. When boomers literally were just lucky, or we're just grateful to have a job.
Or they like decided to work for like one company for the rest of their lives and like align themselves with one group, and that's what they stuck with, no matter like how good or how bad it got. But then like a lot of, at least like Gen Z, like a little bit with like woke culture, seeing through some of like like how companies kind of act like we're a family, we're a community, we work together, like we'll always be there for you, when that's not really true.
I think that
like when it comes to the money comes first, not the happiness. So
here's my thing about it. I'm going to push back a little bit. I think Gen Z would be loyal to companies if companies showed that they were loyal to the employers or employees. So for example, I think that we as a generation are going to be one of the first ones to see the employer is going to push everything on to the employee that it can. So like retirement is already basically employee funded, right? Through 401ks or Roth IRAs. Then they want to push, all these benefits, air quotes, onto the employee. So it's like, oh, you want a commuter benefit? Actually, you paid for that out of your own, dime. Oh, you want whatever, like you have to pay for it out of your own dime. And it's just like, there's also, you can be fired, you can't really form a union. It's just all of these things that, pile up, where people are like, all right, fuck it. Like, you don't care about me, then I'm not going to care about you.
Yeah.
Like we are the first generation to, did you hear about the thing called as ghost quitting? Where it's like,
no, I haven't heard of this.
So ghost quitting,
I'm assuming it's just you just bail out.
No. Ghost quitting is like you do the bare minimum amount of work for the company to fire you so you can collect unemployment, because you can't collect unemployment if you quit. So like you do the bare minimum amount of work or just below the bare minimum so that the employer will fire you, and then you go and collect unemployment.
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Yeah. It's called quiet quitting, and like employers are complaining because they're like, all these employees are just quiet quitting, where they're just like, fuck it, I don't care anymore, you know. I can just probably make more money on unemployment, to be honest.
Yeah.
And you know, they're like, oh, where's the loyalty nowadays, where's the loyalty? But boomers would just bend over backwards for their employers.
Yeah.
While nowadays the games have changed, you know, there's more competition, there's all this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you said, you see past the bullshit, and you have to, you talk about loyalty, but now you have to show loyalty. You know, that's what I'm saying.
I saw, since we're talking about this, I saw this YouTube short. I forgot the guy's name. Like famous TikToker, like one of those guys that's like, he like takes a video clip from something and then just like gives a response to it, like as an explanation, like whether it's funny or serious. And he was talking about how like the generations, like how they like to work and how they don't like to work, because one person like shows too much loyalty and the other one doesn't. He was saying how the previous generation, like the boomers to Gen X, the problem with that generation is that the early 20th century generations are harder to work for, while the current generation, like Gen Z going into Gen Alpha, are harder to work with.
Really?
Like in a quick, like he goes into way more detail in the video feed, and I really should know what this guy's name is. I forgot what his name is.
Well, you know who you are if you're listening.
It was like a very interesting thing to talk about, because he went to the whole like the previous generations, like 20th century generations, would always say the same thing. You know, we have to work together. We're a family. We're a community. We're there for you. You need to be there for us. But then, if you're part of that generation and you go up to them and say, I just had a kid, I need to be home to raise my kid, I need some time off just to do that, what response do you think you're going to get?
Wrong.
The first response is, oh, you need time off? I guess you don't really care about this family very much. I guess you're not a very good employee.
Or they'll be like, retribution is a lot more common in in those generations, where it's like, oh, if you take time off, you could be an excellent worker, but by the time that the raises and salary negotiations come around, oh, well, because you took this time off, you know, it's gonna like be held over your head.
Yeah,
like the bonus is held over your head.
Yeah, like the gaslighting is much stronger.
It's
from
the
that
gaslighting
generation
for me,
and it's like that. You know, that lack of that beforehand,
sincerity.
Beforehand there was no sincerity, because it was always like, no, we need to keep control of these people. So it's harder to work for you, because, you know, boomers or even Gen X would immediately believe anything that you're saying, which isn't true. And then this generation is harder to work with, because now that we know that that's a problem, we want more and aren't willing to settle for the bare minimum anymore.
Yeah, you're right.
Because we know that you can afford it, you just don't want to.
Yeah.
And then whenever you do push back, like, let's say like today, if I need time off for, like, if I want to take a mental health day, I can get a mental health day because I can sue you if you don't. Whereas,
no, you're absolutely right.
Whereas in the mid 20th century, it's like, I need a mental health day, they'll just fire you, and you can't do anything about it.
Yeah, they're like, it's just so crazy. And also, I know that with Gen Z and going, I guess, into, like you said, Gen Alpha and all that, like my office is that I work for is predominantly, I would say, like Generation X, where that what you're saying is like, yeah, that like, you know, we need to work really hard, like that community aspect is very real. And I'm not saying it's bad or like the office I work for is not sincere, because they are sincere. But when I hear other people talking about their office environments, like our friend, she worked for this agency down in Times Square, that they literally treated their employees like garbage. You know, literally, she worked for them for so long, and she was doing managerial tasks, and they still had her as an intern salary.
That's crazy.
I am so surprised.
That is very crazy.
Like, that is legal. Like, that's legal, bro. Like, what? You know, it's insane.
Also, I just looked up the name of the guy I was talking about. His name is...
Shout out time.
It's Jordan Howlett. I think he's also a TikTok YouTuber. You know,
Wait, can I see what he looks like?
Everybody like posts the same like 1 minute segments to both sites. He looks like this. You've probably seen this guy before.
Yes.
Yeah, he's gone viral several times.
Yes.
So more than a several times.
He's the guy who taught me my Chipotle hacks.
Or like usually a lot of his videos are like comedic when he's like giving responses to things, but like that one just happened to be like a serious explanation.
Do we want to take a quick pause and for the drinks?
Yes, we're halfway through already, so let's get into it now. Then, please give a quick description because I made them this time.
Yeah, I know John has made the drinks this time. It looks like it smells like a beer. It looks like a beer. So you know what they say: if it walks like a duck and quacks like a duck. Mm-hmm. Is this Bud Light?
Is that your final answer?
No, but. It's Bud Light. I'm sorry for all the Budweiser fans. I don't understand how you guys like that shit beer. I'm sorry. This is gonna be a hot take. This is gonna be a hot take.
Hey, they're coming back. They just got Shane Gillis as a sponsor.
And did Shane Gillis have to sell his soul?
No,
for because a subpar beer.
No, because he loved Bud Light even when it went through all their shit. So.
Nah, man. How do you like Bud Light? Like out of all the beers. All the good beers. You got Heineken. You got Blue Moon. You got Modelo.
Because it's an American Midwestern beer. That's why.
If you want an American beer,
it's a symbol.
Natty Lights are more American than Budweiser.
I'm sorry, what?
You never had a Natty Light?
Natty Light? What the hell's a Natty Light?
Damn, I'm really showing my freaking trashiness in college.
Natty I really do. What the hell's a Natty Light?
Okay, so you know you have Bud Light.
Yeah.
Right, so you have... I don't know the actual name of the beer. I was just always call them Natty Lights. But you can look it up. They're like the quintessential frat bro beer. So when I was in college, every Thursday... freshman year, so yes, I was underage. We had.
You sure you want me to?
We had.
You sure you want to keep that in?
No. This is fine. We had beer pong nights. So a friend of mine that literally lived right above me. It would be like I'm on the third floor, and then he's literally my ceiling, and go up to his room. First, we would go to the Target right by our college. That Target, we'd buy a shit ton of Natty Lights, like cases. I'm talking about cases. Probably 40 cans, 50 cans in total. We'd have 5 or 6 guys in the room, and the tournament, air quotes, would start at, let's say, 6. I would walk out at, like, midnight, obliterated. Like, when I tell you, obliterated, like I would so obliterated that one time I went into the sink, or like not went into the sink, like went to the bathroom, just looking at me, and an acquaintance of mine, he comes up, and I'm just looking at him like 1,000-mile stare, and he's like, "Are you fucked up?" And I'm like, "No," and he goes, "I've been out to the bars enough to tell if somebody's fucked up or not. You are fucked up. Go to sleep."
Damn, man.
But yeah, so I would rather have the United States represented by Natty Light than Budweiser.
Okay.
And it's just like I was so happy when people were dropping Budweiser, because I was just like, wow, like finally, like they get to get like the shit they deserve.
But they weren't dropping it because it's a bad beer. They were dropping it for another big reason.
It's like people are like, oh, we're gonna drop Bud Light because, you know, they have a, you know, for whatever your opinions on it, like a trans woman, like, okay, but not because it's a shit beer. Like,
no, it was because they were pushing for that community when when the people that drink it don't like that community
like,
at all.
Whoever was head of that marketing agency
they got fired so fucking fast.
And you know what happened? They released like the most pro-American ad like ever. It was like almost cranked up to 100. Like they brought the dog out. They brought the dog out. They brought the golden retriever, the horse, the soldiers, the Sunday barbecue. Like I was like, damn, they're trying to course correct. So is this boycott over, or is it still going on?
I'm pretty sure it's over now, since they got Shane Gillis as a sponsor. They got Kid Rock on their side, and they got Joe Rogan on their side. So
Got Joe Rogan.
not as an official sponsor, but like as a supporter of the Bud Light revamp.
Dang, what's the bag? Like what?
I don't know.
They do
I don't
anything
know.
for the bag? Like, oh my
That
gosh.
itself is also a conspiracy because when obviously I watched their show, right?
Yeah.
So one episode they had
This
both,
is Shane Gillis,
They
right?
both had Shane Gillis.
Okay.
No, this is on JRE.
Oh, JRE.
He had both Shane Gillis and Matt McCusker on that episode, and he just got the sponsorship from Bud Light. And so, like, Matt and Joe are both making fun of him for the Bud Light sponsorship because like they know like why they picked him and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So then he opened up a joke with, so he's talking about the sponsorship and everything. Like, yeah, the Bud Light's coming back. And then I think Joe was making a joke where he said, like I'm surprised they didn't shoot down the Clydesdales to make money to keep themselves going after the whole Mulaney thing. And then obviously because Gillis is a sponsor, he can't make fun of them. He can't join in on the joke.
Yeah, you can't.
So he's just like, oh, I knew you were going to do something like that.
I knew you. Like,
But then there was another episode later on with Kid Rock where they're talking about it. And do you remember that video Kid Rock posted?
Yeah, of like him shooting all of
He
his
shot a
Bud
case
Lights.
of Bud Light. And then on that episode, they were both like very like sympathetic to the Bud Light cause during that thing where Kid Rock is like, I don't get very political with all my stuff, and I don't mean to attack Bud Light in this way, but it's like you released a whole video of you shooting
I'm sorry,
a
Kid Rock
case of Bud Light.
is very political.
He's very political. So then, like that episode, people will be like, "Oh, the Bud Light got to both of them too?"
Bud Light,
Because they did like a quick 180 and
Yeah.
like didn't show any hate towards it at all.
yeah, Bud Light. This is your signature saying, John. They took that blank check and they put it across the table. Said sign
Something.
it.
They did
They
something.
said sign it.
Because they're not sponsored by them. I don't think they're sponsored by them. But
Or maybe
did
they threatened to
something.
sue them, like sue them to oblivion.
Whatever happened, but
Yeah.
yeah, now they're back on it, so they're
Damn.
getting to it.
God, we were such on a great course correction for American beer. You know that what's really funny is for the time being.
Well, now we lost that sponsorship.
You know what? Bud Light is actually a great beer. It's actually an amazing beer. I will course correct at 100%.
Really?
If they want to sponsor us,
if
I
they
will.
send you the blank check, you change your
I'm
mind.
signing that. I'm
change your
changing my mind. I will literally be the biggest defender of Bud Light, Budweiser. You know, there's a conspiracy because the parent company, I could be pronouncing it wrong, but it's called Anheuser-Busch or
Yes, Anheuser-Busch.
Anheuser-Busch, that they are buying all these microbreweries across the United States, and they're not like shutting them down because we're in like a beer renaissance where there's all these like breweries popping up and everybody has all these choices of local breweries, but Anheuser-Busch is buying all these local breweries saying no, don't put our logo on, don't do anything, just we are going to own you now. You keep operating as normal. So it's like basically a beer cartel that the big beer still owns like large market shares, but you have the illusion of choice.
Interesting. I didn't know about this.
Yeah, they've been accused of doing that. Where, like for example, I know in New York, the big one is like Montauk Brewing. Like, have you seen that in supermarkets?
I have not.
Oh, well, like that's like a big one. It's like a brewery out in, you guessed
Like
it,
for
in Long
craft,
Island.
for craft.
Yeah,
beer.
yeah, for craft brewing and all that. And it's like, I'm not saying Anheuser-Busch bought them, but it's like stuff like that where, they're going to buy them. And then, they kind of, people say, oh, I'm supporting my local business or local, regional brewery, distillery, whatever you want to call it. And then bang, but you're actually supporting just big beer.
Interesting. I did not know that.
Yeah. Dang it.
Well, so do you want to make your guess for the drink now, since you're pretty clear on it?
Let me get one more swing. That's I don't think that's Bud Light. I think that's a Heineken
It's a Heineken,
or a Michelob Light.
Michelob.
Yeah,
I did drink Michelob Ultra for a second.
I know.
Also, it's so much cheaper than every other beer at the store
Because nobody drinks that.
because Literally, I go to like either Costco or BJ's to go pick up like alcohol. Instead of the distributor, my local distributor got so expensive. So fucking expensive. And then I was just like, no, I'm not going there anymore. So I used to pick it up there. I think a case of Heineken was like $33.
That's crazy.
And then a case of Michelob was only $18
Oh wow.
for the same amount of bottles.
Do you prefer bottles or cans?
Bottles.
Okay.
Or draft. Or draft is even
Okay,
better.
draft obviously is the best, but
I think it's like because it comes out differently in a can versus a. Well, they both. It's not the same. When you're drinking out of a bottle, it feels different. When you drink out of a can, it feels different. I'm more of a bottle guy.
I remember reading somewhere, I forgot where it was, but they said that the can is actually better to preserve the taste because sunlight pierces through the bottle and could affect the flavor.
I think I have heard about that somewhere. Yeah.
So if you want like more air quotes an authentic taste, you should actually buy the can rather than the bottle. But people like the feel of the bottle, like the opening, with the bottle caps and everything. So, how many beers do you think you can take?
Like light beer or craft beer?
Like pick whatever beer you want. You have a full stomach. How many do you think you can do?
By bottle, by can, or by draft?
I'll let you choose on that one.
I usually go draft more. 7-8 pints, I'd say.
7-8 pints.
I say that because I have made it to 7 pints before.
And were you like still functioning, or were you like gone?
I was functioning by 7 pints because I actually have a great story for you. So my one of my cousins got married in a spot in New Jersey, and we had to drive down there. We stayed at a local hotel next to it, and the hotel had a bar attached to it.
Oh, shit.
So after the wedding ceremony and everything was done, and we all came back to the hotel, we all went to the bar. And at the bar, it was an Irish pub. So we were just another cousin of mine was doing rounds of Guinness pints all over the place, and then like they did one round and I did one round, and then just like round after round, and it came out to like 7 or 8 pints of Guinness that I had by myself.
Wow.
Over the span of like 4 hours.
So
Like
that's
3
like
or 4
to
hours.
an hour.
Something like that, yeah.
I don't think I can get that.
Or maybe
far.
no, it probably wasn't 4 hours, like 2 or 3 hours. But like over the span of that time, I had at least 7 or 8 pints of Guinness by then.
And you were lit as fuck, probably.
Yeah, well, luckily I only paid for like 1 round. I didn't pay for the other 6 rounds. So, and like I'm not like Guinness is not my preferred draft. Like I don't hate it. I don't like find it the best either. But if I can make it to like 7 or 8 and still be functioning, I'd say I'm pretty good. But I know for a fact I packed on so many calories and so much weight.
Don't even think about it.
after
Don't
that.
think about it.
Like my
Don't think about
cholesterol
it.
was probably through the roof that night.
Don't think about
Yeah.
it. Just enjoy. Just enjoy the
I
memories.
was just enjoying the tipsiness with my cousins. Yeah.
I can probably take.
Well, those are also drafts.
Yeah, if I was going to do drafts, we're going to keep it the same.
Yeah.
And let's say I'm going to do Blue Moon because that's like a beer that I really like. I could probably do 5. I think I can get
About
5
5.
in, maybe 6. But once 6 comes in, I'm going to be struggling to take it down. Like
So like 5 and still functioning.
yeah, like well, no, not like 6. I think I would be lit, or no, I'd be drunk at that point. I'd be drunk, but like when you're drinking beer and you gotta like fight for that last couple of sips of like when it's warm and it's
you
like
can
all that.
feel like your
you feel it in a
stomach,
gut and you feel like you gotta like force that shit down.
Yeah. I know exactly what
like
you're talking about.
Like that'll start happening to me probably around like the 4th one in, and then by the 6th, I think it would be too much. Where I'm just like, I gotta cut it out.
I need bread.
I need bread. I need solid foods.
I need something to soak this shit up.
Yeah.
Also, so that you don't shit yourself the next day.
To be honest, alcohol shits hit different though.
They hurt more.
I don't know about hurt more, but they hit like I feel like when I'm hungover and the minute that I take a shit, I feel like astronomically better.
If you have all those pints and then you're just blowing your ass out from hot beer shits, yeah, it's different. But like I don't know, I wouldn't consider it clearing out your system, but I know it's gonna go right through
like,
you.
Okay, but you've had a hangover, right?
Of course.
You don't feel better after you take a shit? Like thinking back.
Taking a shit while having a hangover?
No, okay, like you wake up that morning.
Yeah.
Because usually when I drink, I go to bed right away. When I wake up, I got shit. Like I'm like, oh, fuck. I'm running to the
I've had that
bathroom.
before. Like,
yeah. And
You're hungover. You have to shit. And you
yeah,
just run to the bath.
yeah, and like I just feel like I'm not like not hungover anymore, but I feel better than what I was when I woke
Well,
up.
yeah, because now your body's like processing. Like
Yeah.
when you're the. I think that the best way to get over a hangover is like you have to keep moving.
Oh, that's a hot
You have
take.
to run your body. No, no. If you just lie there and you're sitting in your hangover waiting for it to go away, it's gonna be worse. Like you have to get
Oh,
up, you have
wow.
to move around, you have to
So you're saying run toward the storm.
like have your body like energized, and then it'll process out the toxins faster that way. If you just sit there and let it like sit, it won't go away as fast.
What's the worst hangover you've ever had?
I definitely. It was after like a part. It was definitely like one of those like went to a party, stayed out all night, only got less than 4 hours of sleep, and then went to work that same day. One of
Was
those
it the
things.
day that you came back? Was it your birthday?
No, it wasn't. My
Oh,
birthday.
okay. I was about to be like, that's wild.
No, no. Worst hangover I ever got. Honestly, oh man, it could have been a little bit more recent.
Oh shit.
I remember Super Bowl. I was hungover after the Super Bowl,
You
and
know,
that one was pretty bad for like a couple hours.
okay, if you drink different alcohols, do different alcohols affect you like in your hangover? I have seen that wine has the worst hangover for me. Like if I get wine drunk is the best drunk, but it has the worst hangover for me.
I think that mixing and then getting hungover is the worst.
Oh yeah.
Because for the Super Bowl, and like you know, because I've told you this story before, the Super Bowl,
our
I didn't
listeners.
watch it at home. I actually changed my Super Bowl plans this year because instead of watching it at home with the family, I went out to this barbecue spot in Manhattan with a group, and they had like a pitcher deal where it was like pitchers of stout for like a very low price. So we got pitchers of stout, and then someone else started getting round after round of tequila shots, mixing those two. And then I remember the hangover after that. I was just like, it's this fucking Super Bowl. Like I got nothing going on tomorrow. Let me just fucking rock out. And then by the time I woke up the next morning, it hit hard because you're mixing tequila and beer. I didn't have that like hour or two like around to like try to like wait until it goes away. Because sometimes I'll do that. Sometimes like I'll get tipsy, but then wait like an hour or two before I leave so that most of it's already out of my system, and I'll be good. But this time it wasn't. I just went straight home and went to bed.
You know what I've heard to avoid hangovers is every drink you have some water. Like it won't affect the drunkenness. Like
it'll
you'll
affect
still
the
get drunk,
hangover.
but it'll affect because hangovers are just simply just dehydration.
Really?
So yeah, so what the idea is that every time,
it's not
every
like-
drink you have, you order a glass of water with it. So like you chug the water, just chug it, just throw it back, whether it's a shot, a beer, a glass of wine, whatever, and then you have your next drink.
Interesting.
So you're gonna pee a lot throughout that night, but flushing your system out as you're drinking is supposedly help a lot with hangovers.
I didn't know it was just about the dehydration.
Yeah,
I
it's
thought
mostly
it was-
dehydration.
I thought it was just like having those extra toxins in your, like when you're sleeping, your body hasn't functioned getting rid of all
It's
those
like,
toxins.
but you know, that's a part of it. But you know, like in Japan, they have these like hangover pills in Japan that a lot of because drinking culture in Japan is like enormous, and they have these like pills that they take before they go out for a night, and then they do that, and they'll have like 10 beers and then just wake up and go to work and the next morning like
That's
nothing
very
happened.
interesting.
Yeah, I've been thinking about buying that.
To see if it works.
Yeah, just to see if it works. Like, you know, what's the worst that can happen? It doesn't work and then
Yeah,
you wake
true.
up with a terrible hangover. But yeah,
What's your worst hangover?
had
Is
to be
that-
in college, 100%. It was my first time actually hungover, you know.
I don't think I've ever seen you actually hungover,
Oh,
or like,
I hate it. I hate it.
or like,
I'm-
have I ever like been in the same room as you where you got like just fucked up, like
Yeah.
drunk?
yeah.
When? Like,
Like I'm about to pass out.
like you're slurring your words, you can't walk.
Oh shit, you've never seen. I don't want to get like that. You know.
No, I've never seen you've seen me like that. 'Cause
Yeah.
we've gone out
Yeah.
for my birthday and I wasn't driving,
Yeah.
so I didn't have to worry about that. But I don't think I've ever seen you gotten that fucked up.
No.
You told me stories
Yeah,
from-
so the most fucked up I've ever been was so the college I went to, we had dorm parties. We didn't really like go out much. So I went to this dorm. I was partying with the international students. Never try to outdrink Northern Europeans. Just don't. Just don't do it. But, we had, Norwegians, Poles, some Taiwanese students. So I was just hanging out, and then I was with my college roommate and friend to this day, as well. And so basically, we're getting lit in this dorm room, which is literally, it's like 5 of us. We have enough alcohol for like 20 people. We went overboard, but we're just getting lit. And what happened was that let's say the party starts at 8 for shits and giggles. By like 11, I'm fucked. I'm gone.
Mm-hmm. That's too early.
No. But here it is. But I didn't eat dinner though.
Oh, that's your first mistake.
That's my first mistake. Bang, bang, bang. We got a knock on the door from the RA. The RA goes, we're a dry campus, by the way. The RA goes, look, I'm not going to be a snitch, but you guys need to calm down because we're getting loud now. Like, we're getting loud.
After so long.
We're getting loud now. So you need to either cut the party or move upstairs or move somewhere, but you're not having the party here. We're like, boo, boo, like lame, like we're fucking cursing out this RA, But the RA was nice knowing that we're all drunk, so he didn't take it personally. So their friend, the international student friend, they call him up. They're like, yeah, bring the party upstairs. We're there until like 3 a.m. Getting lit. And
dude.
This friend is the RA on that floor, so they don't give a fuck. And I remember, I think I had White Claws, I had beer, I had alcohol. I was taking shots straight out of like a Jack Daniels bottle. Like I was getting fucked up. I was so fucked up. And this is on a Thursday, right? I didn't even go to classes on Friday. I go to sleep in this international friend's dorm. All of us fall asleep. My roommate made out with one of the international students. I'm just sitting here at one point I'm just lying down on the floor of this party in like the corner because I'm just so drunk. It's so embarrassing.
I want to see what you look like.
And I woke up the next day. I went over into the bathroom, puked. This was like at 7 a.m.
In your own room or
no, in their room. I puked in their bathroom.
Moved you. Yeah.
And I didn't leave that room until like 3 p.m.
Damn.
I was like dead. I was so dead. I had the worst. I'm like getting flashbacks.
Head's pounding. Like if you bend down at all, you feel like you're about to throw up.
I feel like you could have felt my head vibrating with the amount of headaches I had. Like if you could feel like the boom, 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 boom from the brain.
Damn, dude.
It was so bad. But that was the best dinner of my life. I ate that night. Like I had like a huge ass dinner. I was eating good. I was like, damn, like I felt rejuvenated. Like my veins, you could see like having like hydration again.
Mm-hmm. You're like Bane powering up. Just like,
yeah, that's literally me. So
hell yeah, dude.
That's what it was. And then my second worst hangover was with the crew team. I was on the crew team.
I think I know this story.
And this is when I found out I didn't like vodka because
yes, you told the story.
We were getting fucking lit in this dorm room, like fucking lit. And this is, I'm of age at this point, so I'm just like, yeah, vodka. I was like, all right, what the fuck? Vodka ain't got nothing on whiskey, ain't gonna take me out, blah, blah, blah. I was talking mad shit too. I was like, oh, this vodka ain't shit. Like, and have you ever drank a lot sitting down and then you get up and your whole world just like, like it's just, realigns? Of course, yeah. That's what happened to me. But I was on the top of a bunk bed. So I almost fell off this bunk bed, almost face planted onto this girl. Like, cause it's like, there's 11 of us in this dorm room. So I almost like face planted straight into this girl, probably would have like broken her teeth. And I go to the bathroom and we have a race the next day. I was like, I got to do it. I start crying of how drunk I am. And I'm like, I just pulled the trigger. And I was hungover the next day. thank God our race was in Saratoga Springs, John, because we stopped at McDonald's and I had like 2 McGriddles and I needed the grease. I needed like grease or something.
You needed something to soak up all
I
the
needed,
shit. Yeah.
yeah. And I had like that orange juice. And by the time the race started, I was still hungover, but I could run. I mean, I could row.
Hell
So,
yeah, dude.
That's what happened. That's
You had
my
that extra
escapades. Yeah. But like you said, yeah, now I think about it. By the time the race was over, I was like chill. I was good. I wasn't hungover anymore.
There's nothing better than like a test of masculinity than just getting fucked up the night before, waking up with the hangover, and then just going straight into work.
I'm not that. I can't do that, dude.
I've heard they call
that.
it the Don Draper. You ever heard of that?
No.
It's do you know who the character is?
No.
You ever seen Mad Men?
I'm
that TV
uncultured.
show?
I heard about Mad Men.
It's a great
but I'm
TV
uncultured.
show. So John Hamm's character is Don Draper, the main character. In the show, he has this very bad like guys around the time period, because this is set like in the 20th century, right? These guys would go out partying most nights, get fucked, like blitz, get fucked up, somehow make it home. They take a taxi, make it home, get fucked up, wake up hungover, and then just come right to work and just get right back into it. And that's how they would do it. And it's like no complaining. Like the moment they come in, they see that you're drunk. They're like, "Oh, you had a good time last night, huh?" They don't help you. They just know that like you have to be a man and like force yourself through it. And I remember someone called it the Don. I forgot where I heard of it from. It was either like a friend said it, or I heard it on a podcast somewhere. But they called it the Don Draper. So like there's like each friend group has that Don Draper in there.
You're our Don Draper.
I'm probably
you are 100% the Don
yeah.
Draper. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something about John. For his birthday, we all got super lit at our favorite bar. Mm-hmm. Or it's my favorite bar. I don't know if it's your favorite bar, but
it's probably my favorite bar now.
Yeah, our favorite bar. And let's say all of us got home, for argument's sake, let's say at like 2 a.m. Our friend Mike had a party that same night. So let's say 2 a.m. by like 6 p.m. Mike is now having a party. We are like, all right, John, he got too lit. He's not pulling up, blah, blah, blah. Who walks in the door at 6:30 after having gone to work, mind you? Mm-hmm. You gone to work. You woke up at what, 6 a.m.? Something like that?
At 6 a.m.
So you went to bed, argument's sake, at 2.
Because I woke up at 6 because I had to be to work by 7. Mm-hmm. And I usually get up early, get dressed, have like 1 or 2 cups of coffee, and then go.
Yeah.
What time I can't remember when we got home.
I'm saying we just got home at 2. Like it was definitely after midnight. Okay. I don't know when, but just like for a good measure, like let's say 2. So you only had 4 hours of sleep.
Got up at 6, went to work by 7, left work at 3, came back, changed out of my boots, and then went to Mike's house for the party until
like 10 or 11,
until like 11 o'clock at night. Yeah,
that was insane. That's literally like
I had my recovery. That was my recovery.
Literally, period. Mike and I, to our listeners and viewers, Mike and I were literally just looking at John like, we could not do that. Like I would have called out sick. Like I would have been like, I'm not pulling up to work today.
Dude, no. When you're working, because I was the job I had.
You were construction at the time.
I was doing construction at the time, yeah, to fill in the because when I was freelancing, like there's not enough money in that. So I was also working construction on days I wasn't freelancing, and like you can't just bail out on a day, especially if it's a small crew. You can't just bail out, and I am not gonna look like a bitch in front of my crew. So I just like bared it and
damn. Do you think they could tell you were hungover?
No.
Can you tell other people have been hungover on set or on the site?
On the site,
like looking back, because I feel like construction people could drink. Like,
oh yeah,
I feel like
yeah. Some of them show up drunk. It's hilarious. Like we can go into a whole discussion about that, but I'm not going to because we're gonna run out of time. But at least the crew that I was working with, well, I was the youngest one there. Everyone else was like in their 40s, 50s. They had kids, probably grandkids by that point. So it's like I didn't notice it. I was just, and again, I'm in my like early 20s. Yeah. So like, but like I hit it as best as I possibly could. But I think the only way you could probably tell is that like I was sweating a little bit like while working, and then you can tell like at some points I'm like like I have to like slow down myself because I'm getting dizzy.
Yeah.
From during that recovery period, but like I don't think anybody noticed it.
That's insane. Like I would have called out sick. I would have been like, call me a bitch. Call me with that. I'm
like I've
bold.
never
You ain't gonna see me
I've
that
never
day.
shown up drunk to work. I've shown up hungover to work.
Yeah.
But I've never shown up drunk to work.
You know, have you ever heard of the term called a functioning alcoholic?
I have heard this, yes.
So, for those who may not know, the functioning alcoholic is basically people who can be hammered but have a conversation like what we're having right now. Like they operate on a different playing field.
Like you can feel the effects hitting you. Like you're tipsy,
but
all
you're
the
there.
time. But like you're fully conscious of where you are,
Yeah.
and like that what people are saying to you.
Yeah, like professions that have some of the highest functioning alcoholics. I know our lawyers, like they will drink, but they could like argue a case right in front of you, fucking blitzed. You know. So I wonder if like construction workers have a high rate of.
Did you know that when I was originally getting my OSHA card long back,
Yeah.
we had to do like the drug and alcohol awareness training, right? Did you know that construction is like either the second or third highest industry for drug and alcohol abuse?
That's really.
Yeah.
What's number one?
In terms of like people coming into the site like drunk or high.
Oh wow.
Or like that work affecting them, or like them using it after work or some shit like that. It's second or third highest industry.
I wonder who's number one.
I think number one was
Like taxi drivers, or
it was either like some type of administration or something like that. I think they have these notes are like online. I could look it up. I know it wasn't the top, but I know it was maybe second or third place.
I know a guy. I had a former coworker of mine who used to work in the commodities trading world, and he used to tell me that these guys would be working day and night because commodities trading is like another world.
Yeah.
Right. And these guys would literally be so stressed that they would get up and hit their pen that day. Like, and they would return to work high as a kite, but still have to work because they're just so stressed.
They're just functioning. Yeah.
That his office had an espresso machine, like a really like a $10,000 espresso machine.
Every you know what? Every office needs an espresso machine.
John,
Yeah,
for mayor.
mine, the office I work in now has an espresso machine. Yeah, it's so good.
But
And I have
anyways,
options too. I have options too.
But he was saying that at one point he was drinking like 7 espressos a day, and he would literally just be twitching, like tweaking the fuck out. Like he's like, if I stopped, I would just be tweaking out. Like I had to keep working.
I have a question. Do you feel that like the palpitations or like shaking sometimes if you have too much coffee?
I have a funny story about that.
Because I can go at least 5 or 6 cups of coffee, or like
Before?
or like 4 cups of coffee and an espresso shot or 2 espresso shots, and I won't feel anything.
You're just built diff.
It's the same to me. Like I won't feel any palpitations. I won't be shaking or feeling nervous.
You're Italian.
Nothing like that.
It's just
I
diff.
don't. I guess that's it. I don't know what it
It's
is.
just you're just. It's just
Or maybe I
built
just got
different.
enough like fat on my body that like I'm soaking up everything, and it's not
No, it's
affecting
probably
me.
just your tolerance. But I know what's really funny was so in college I tried to quit caffeine, right?
yeah.
So
like
I
that
tried
was
to,
gonna happen.
I tried to. I know, right? Yeah, looking at me now. But for those who may not know, I love coffee. But anyways, so I tried to quit caffeine. Everybody been telling me like if you try to quit caffeine, you're gonna get huge headaches. You're gonna be really like down. You're just gonna like really feel like shit for maybe 3 weeks, right? Because your body is just readjusting to natural energy levels, right? So I'm like, okay. I quit coffee. I started drinking tea as like a placebo, right? I was like, oh, let me get a black tea Lipton with placebo.
Maybe
You
try
know,
to like
great.
fix like the oral fixation.
Yeah,
of
that's what I was
drinking.
more.
Yeah.
So a week goes by, no coffee, nothing, right? I'm like, all these people are bitches, man. Like nothing. So I've been having like 8, 9 big, like not this pint glass, but let's say like, you know, like a college coffee cup. Like, you know, yeah. I've been having like 8 of those a day. Because where our cafeteria was, you could the beverage section was open day and night. Like it was just always open. So one day I'm just sitting there and I'm just like got out of breath. I'm like what? And I like feel my chest. I feel my heart like skip, like really pacing. So I thought I was having a heart attack. Like, I thought, like, I was legit about to die. And so I go back to my dorm room. Like, I kind of bugged the fuck out. I called my dad. And my dad was a paramedic for the city of New York. And I was explaining to him what's been going on. And he's like, how many cups of coffee a day are you having? I'm like, none. He goes, really? I'm like, yeah. He goes, how many Red Bulls are you having a day? I'm like, none. He goes, how many cups of tea are you having a day? And I was like, oh, about like 8 or 9. And he goes, are you dumb? And I was like, what? And he goes, you know, there's as much caffeine in a bag of Lipton tea as 1 cup of coffee. And I was like, what? I've been trying to quit caffeine. He goes, oh no, you've been overdriving. So I've had heart palpitations, and they're like really weird.
Yeah, but that's after like 8 or 9 cups.
Yeah,
That's crazy. I haven't had more than maybe 4 or 5 a day.
but John, I was having this for like these 8 or 9 cups a day for a week.
Damn,
like,
you really were overdriving.
So I was just like, what? You know, it just like hit me like a truck. Like, there's caffeine in tea. I thought caffeine only existed in coffee. And he's like, are you dumb? Like, how did you make it into university? Like, how did you make it this far in life not knowing that there's caffeine in tea? Like, and then this is where my dad really made me look fucking stupid. He goes, have you ever noticed caffeine-free tea bags? And I was like, just silent on the phone. I almost hung up. I was like, no way this is real. And then so I decided I'm not going to quit caffeine. I'm just going to reduce my intake because life is sad without coffee.
It is sad without coffee.
It is sad without coffee.
Sad without espresso.
Yeah, like when people are like, oh, I don't drink coffee, I just wake up. I'm like, you just raw dog life. Like, you just get up in the morning and just have natural energy. And they're like, yeah, man, yeah. Like, and then you know what they do? And then they go and fucking drink a Celsius. Or they go and fucking drink a Monster. Damn. I do feel superior to people who drink energy drinks. I do feel superior. I don't really drink energy drinks. Like, I'd rather have like a cup of coffee or an espresso than an energy drink.
Have you had them before?
I have, but they're really not my, no pun intended, cup of tea. You know,
Yeah, they're okay. I mean, I know that like if you're falling asleep at the bar, you could order like a Red Bull or a vodka Red Bull if you want to keep partying but still have more energy.
Yeah. You know, on my crew team, there was a guy who had this like pre-workout, but it was like a mega, like, I don't want to say illegal, but it was like a pre-workout that if you took, your bodybuilding or powerlifting competitions, all your lifts become illegal because there's so much caffeine in this pre-workout.
Yeah.
So we're at the head of the Charles and we're about to row, and he goes, hey Mark, come over here. We're the whole crew team. We're in a 4, and he goes, we're all gonna take dry scoops. I was like, the fuck? And he takes out this Ziploc bag, not even like a container, a Ziploc bag.
Shit
and
ever.
I'm like, this is so fucking sketch. Like, are we about to freaking? It's just like laced with heroin. Like, you bought it. It looked like he literally bought this off the street. And he goes, don't be a bitch. Open your mouth. I'm like, pause, you know? So he takes this huge scoop and he's like putting it in everybody's mouth, right? When I tell you, I felt like instantaneously. Have you ever seen Over the Hedge?
Yes.
Do you know Hammy when he drinks a cup of coffee
and he goes
like,
buck wild? Yeah.
That was literally, we still came in last, but you know, our time probably improved by like a minute after taking that, and I could see why it was illegal.
Hell yeah.
You know.
Do you know those smelling salts that powerlifters use?
I kind of want to try one.
It's well, they're supposed to be used to wake your ass up if you overdose.
Wait, what?
Yeah, like smelling salts and like those nasal sprays. They're used for like heroin users that overdose.
So
That's
wait,
what they're used for.
So like if you see somebody overdosing, you could just take a smelling salt and just go in front of them?
You take a smelling salt, because they're breathing, right?
Yeah.
So you put it in front of their nose
And
and
they
like
boom.
it jolts them hard enough to wake their ass up. And now power lifters are using them during their exercise routine so that they can actually like break their 1 rep maxes. But you're not really doing it naturally. You're getting that like quick boost of adrenaline to do your set.
We should do smelling salts. We should get Marcello down here to do smelling salts with us.
Well, see, because we went to some of his competitions, right?
Are they illegal?
And one guy brought smelling salts. I don't know if they're illegal, but it's like it feels illegal because it's like you're getting that extra boost.
You're just getting like
there.
adrenaline.
Yeah, it's not really you. So, and the thing with those competitions is that you get drug tested after you perform, not beforehand.
Oh wow.
So that's funny.
Okay, knowing your strength, if you were giving smelling salts, how much do you think you could bench? Like, let's say your music, everything, all the chakras are aligned. You're about, and I just like boom, give you some smelling salts.
I actually don't bench that much. I think I'm around like 2 something right
Okay.
now. I don't do that much bench, especially because when I go to Planet Fitness, there's no bench available. So then I do with the dumbbells, like 45 dumbbells, just go up and down.
All right, that's pretty good though.
So
All right, let's say dumbbells. Like,
I've never done it before, but if I was,
we should do it.
if I can push 45 with the dumbbells, I could probably push it up to at least 50, 55, I'd say.
I don't know. I think with smelling salts or like stuff
But like again,
that,
I've never tested it, so I wouldn't know if it would work.
I would want to try it. Like, for example, if you can do 45s comfortably, let's say like you could do 10 reps comfortably, I would give you 70s. And then give you the smelling salts and see what, like, this is an experiment.
Yeah.
Like, all right, we're going to increase, load 25 pounds and then boom. Like, and then because then if you can do that, let's say you do smelling salts and you do 70s, like, let's say 4, 5, 6 times, that's just pure adrenaline. Okay, yeah. So then you do the math. That's like X percentages because that's just all adrenaline. So,
math. Yeah, we got to test this shit.
We got to test it out.
Do you ever see celebrity reactions when they take smelling salts, like ordinary celebrities?
I saw the JRE episode when
the fighter companion episode.
No, him and Theo Von did smelling salts.
Oh, really?
So him and Theo Von were like, Joe, like we're having this conversation, and Theo Von is like, yeah, I've done crack, I've done meth, I've done all these stuff, but like I've never done smelling salts, man. And
I gotta rewatch that episode.
And Joe is like, what? And so they get smelling salts, and Joe is like, you better not drop that shit in this office. Because apparently, like, they come in it's not a powder, it's like a solid block. Or
sometimes it's in like little packets that you have to like crack open.
But this one was in like a block, so like you would take it off and go like, and then
it hits you, and then you just and then you go right into it.
So Joe is like, you better not jolt and drop that in this office because then we're never coming back here. Something along that line. Yeah. So, he opens it, he's like, ooh. Like, he's like, ooh. Like, he's like immediately. And then Joe does, he's like, ah. Like, he's just taking smelling salts on live. This is live too.
Like, The fighter companion episode, though, with, you had Brendan Schaub, Joey Diaz, and Eddie Bravo, and they all did it together. It was so fun, like especially when Joey Diaz did it. That was so. I don't think he ever did it before.
Yeah,
so that was so funny.
It's so funny, like Eddie Bravo. Whenever he's on the JRE podcast,
what was funny? He didn't want to do it. He was the one bitching out and didn't want to do it. And then they're like, "Come on, we're a team here. You're supposed to do it with us." And eventually he did it. He made the exact same face. Like, it was hilarious.
Have you ever seen the episode with Joe Rogan, Eddie Bravo, and Alex Jones? It's like
yes, of course. Of course, I've seen that episode.
That's like
just going off on Eddie Bravo.
He's like, there are babies actually dying, and you want to sit here and talk about flutter.
That was a great episode.
I think that was the longest episode that Joe Rogan has ever done.
What's his most viewed episode?
It's definitely probably that one. I would definitely put it at Alex Jones, Eddie Bravo. Like that has to be top 5.
Okay.
Because that was just such a freaking crazy episode. I didn't even listen to the whole episode. I'm not sitting down for 6 hours.
I didn't listen to the whole thing. I saw like the highlights.
Yeah, but that episode is definitely probably one of the most watched ones. And probably like larger political figures. So probably like the one he did with like Bernie Sanders is probably a big one.
I think Ben Shapiro's episode.
Is probably a big one. Yeah. You know, he got, I think we already talked about it, but I just remember he got mad at Ben Shapiro trying to like use his platform to boost his own
Yeah,
platform.
promoting the Daily Wire.
Yeah, it's like, you should go watch What's in Your Microwave. But, oh man. But,
To finish off, because we're getting a little long, give me your final thoughts on the drink before I end it.
I'm saying a Heineken.
It's just a Heineken.
I'm saying this is a straight Heineken.
All right, so you're getting there. It's not a Heineken. It is a light beer, obviously.
Is this Bud Light Lime?
No,
Michelob?
no,
Modelo?
no. You're going in the right track.
So it's Hispanic beer?
Maybe.
Oh my gosh.
Come on.
Corona?
Yes.
Wow, this is a Corona?
Corona Extra.
Corona Extra. Not bad. Oh man. How did I finish before you?
And with that, I am going to call it for this episode. We're running a little bit long. So, once again, thank you everyone for listening. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Spotify, and all of our social medias for upcoming content. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you on the next episode.
Peace.